But yeah, the problem that I have with the support games, like let's
Mm-hmm.
say it was on a separate account and it was intentional, then I have no issues with that.
Okay.
The only problem that I have with it is when it becomes an emotional decision.
Okay.
Like because you mentioned like yeah, if you're ever like struggling, then you're like, oh, I'm gonna play some support because I want to climb. Like that's where I have the problem with it because I play two roles, but every time I play my two roles, it's like an intentional. I'm gonna play this amount this day, whatever.
Okay.
Regardless of how my games go. So if that's what you're doing, it's fine, but not what this is.
Okay. Do you think it's okay to do that? Like, let's say like I have like a go-to support that I'm like I am good at the champion. Is it okay if it's an emotional decision then, or it's like never okay?
I really don't like that. That can
Okay.
produce a lot of bad like
So
pathways where if you're just allowing yourself to be controlled in general by your emotion, that can go
okay. So
poorly.
I guess if you're losing or you're tilted, just stop playing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So I think the only time you're allowed to play support is if you decide at the beginning of the day, okay, I'm going to play support. If it's not emotional, then yes. If like you've already played games and you didn't plan on playing support at the beginning of the game, then that's a problem. Like you're suddenly
Okay.
wanting to play it. Same thing with
Gotcha.
champions. Don't like randomly start picking a new champ.
Okay.
But yeah, speaking of champs, what we can do, I guess it's kind of up to you what you want to do. Um, what I like to do with some of mine is just like pull up a bunch of different VODs and then kind of go through quickly like the major points of them, especially since you're playing multiple champions. I think that would help.
Okay.
Try to see what's going
Uh,
on.
yeah, I think definitely it doesn't make sense to do an Ivern game. I feel like because I I just only started playing him. Um, I think a I think one maybe like definitely one Warwick game if we're doing multiple.
Yeah,
But yeah, I just feel like it just feels a lot harder to play him as I climb. Which not that I've climbed like a lot, but whenever I played him in gold, it was a lot. It just like made a lot more sense than when I play now. When I play now, I feel like like I lose the game like or it becomes very hard to play the game from behind. If I'm going against like a let's say like a Hecarim or something, he will always be like double my CS. And if I can't get something done, like if I feel like I have to force something to get some type of lead, or I'm just like I
right,
outscaled super early into the game. It feels really unplayable.
right. So the issue there then is like your perception of the champion. Also, because
Okay.
you mentioned if you're behind, well, you're not supposed to be getting behind on the champion. That's the whole point of picking Warwick.
Right.
Um, yeah, we can definitely look at that and see what's going on with that. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, that's just like a perception of the champion. That
Okay.
is like partially valid though. Like obviously, you do have to do something with your lead, or war will get more difficult and dependent.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to pick I guess like a good game where like or I guess if you have something that stands out, then I'll definitely defer to you.
Whatever is fine. I'll be honest, I don't know a thing about Ivern.
Okay.
Champ's real
Yeah,
weird
I
when it
didn't.
comes to how he plays, so
Yeah.
probably not Ivern ideally.
Okay, that makes sense. I think the first game we can do is the most recent one, the Kayn one.
Sure. Yep. Post nap king game. Let's see how the nap kicked in.
I think it started off good. I also think yeah, when I mute all my games definitely go better, but it's so hard to sometimes to mute all because you just like want to type.
No. No. Okay. Right there. See, that's what I was talking about with the support thing. Like so many of your decisions are emotional. You gotta fix that.
Hmm.
'Cause you shouldn't have. I mean, like if you want to have regular chat on, I guess. I personally am not a fan of having any chat on, but you definitely there's no reason to have all chat on. You have to be able to recognize that logically. Like there's no benefit,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. I'll chat. No, definitely not. It's
Right.
only my own teammates and I like going at it if it ever is.
Yeah. So I mean, it should just be like if you have regular chat on, you mute them immediately if they're toxic.
Okay.
Um, because if that's like a consistent thing you have an issue with, then that sounds like emotional control that you need to intentionally practice.
Gotcha.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Seconds
Oh.
until
Okay, so what do you think in this game, pathing wise? Not put on your vision.
So I was going red, so I feel like it's always like full clear into top gank if you can, but if you can't, then just recall and full clear again.
Sure. So what's your reasoning for going red?
They have 3 melee champs, and um, I just feel like blue into like I don't know. I feel like it would be hard to assassinate anybody on their team. Like, yes, there's like Soraka and Varus, but like with like silence and like CC and stuff, I feel like it's not. It's easier to just team fight with like MF is a good team fighter. Morgana has a lot of CC. Nami has a lot of CC. Set has a lot of CC. So it's like good as a team fighting champion too.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine reasoning. I agree that like it does get pretty difficult to one shot with Soraka. He's the main decider in why it's so difficult. Let's see how
Yeah.
this goes. Why is my
I definitely don't really know or like understand how to kite camp. So I feel like that's also another question I wanted to ask. Is like, I guess what's the like, am I even doing it? I don't know. I just like hover and
Yeah,
don't
the
really
first
go
thing I've
from.
noticed, you're not using the stop key, so S by default what it is.
Oh, okay. What does that do?
Okay, so normally when you're moving, so let's say you click right here,
Huh.
then you're going to move, your character's going to move there. However, let's say you're on the path there, and right here you click the S key, your character immediately stops moving right where he is.
Okay.
Now, why this is important is because what you want to do for a lot of champions is you auto attack. The blue buff auto attacks, so it does its animation, and then once you know after it's done attacking, it wants to move, you click back and S key just at the max range of your auto attack range. Because what happens if
Oh.
you don't do that, let me show you what happens on the Gromp here. It was really prevalent with the Gromp. You see how you're moving back and forth
Yeah.
a lot? If you're using the S key, there's no walking back into the Gromp, because you're already at the correct range.
Okay. So I have to know. I guess for that I would just have to know my auto attack range really well.
Yeah, if you practice and practice till you'll get the hang of it. It's not too bad to get used to.
Gotcha. And I guess like if I'm like any jungler I'm watching like a video on is doing this, like on YouTube or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I guess I just never noticed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's something that like you wouldn't notice by watching somebody do it. I didn't know about it
Yeah.
until like I heard Tarzan say it, and then I tried it. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Oh, I've been using the A key, so I like right click and then A key. I
Yeah.
don't know if that has like a similar effect or not. But...
Kinda. It's a little bit different, but it can work. Yeah. I don't think it's as precise as S key, but you could do that. Alright, so yeah, we're clearing up. Finish the Krugs. Oh, actually, let me see at the beginning. I wasn't paying attention to where Jarvan started.
30 seconds until minions spawn. Minions have spawned.
Okay, yeah. So we see Garen's here. What does that mean?
He probably started bot.
Yep. Every game, if you see that somebody leashed, it immediately ping where the jungler started. In
Okay.
this case, you'd be pinging missing
Yeah.
on the red buff, and then you'd go from there. Romp. Sound.
I can't hear any sound. I don't know if
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
supposed to.
that's
Okay.
that's on purpose.
Okay.
Because if I do the game where you can see the sound, you can't see my pen.
Mm.
Finish full clear.
So I decided I didn't want to contest that crab.
Yep,
So
I'm
I
fine with
just
this. Just
recall.
run the bottom crab with your items. Yep. Get there. Grab it.
It just sucks because if I get crab, usually I can get a pickaxe, but here I couldn't.
Well, you have the option. Like you could run there. I don't think it's really worth the time spent. But
Run
you
to
could
the
run
top
there.
crab.
The bot crab. Like I'm saying, you could run there after crabs.
Oh.
But that's a lot of walking, so I don't think it's really worth doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Likely you didn't path in the top scuttle because Jarvan's definitely going to be there. He started bots. This is great. Looking for a gank.
I didn't pad well that gank.
Very low HP Nami.
He kind of insta stuff. You'll see the Varus.
Looking at the approach of this game. Went in a little bit too early.
Okay, but I should have gone over the other wall, right? Or no?
Yeah. Ideally, you get. Well, I mean, there's multiple ways to do it. It's so tough, though, with how big this wave is.
Okay.
So you're going to need Misfortune and the Nami to walk up, and then, yeah, ideally you go in from behind them instead of this angle.
Yeah.
But it's not the worst thing ever. As long as you go on a Soraka here. Yep. Kill. On Varus. Nice. And you help push the way. This is good. Clear a couple camps. Yep. Clear up. Look to recall. Yes.
I'm trying to remember. I think Jarvan went in, so I was there. I thought maybe he will EQ again. Or
Okay, he showed up.
yeah, I guess I wasted a lot of time here.
Yeah, you do. Okay, so you got a couple options. One that I'd be okay with is you could walk here, show, and just help her crash the wave. Like, that one's okay if you want to do that.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessary, but you could. The other option is you just go straight to your Raptors. But you do this
Okay.
in between, where it's like you're not helping her crash, but you're also not clearing your camp.
Yeah.
It gets really weird here.
Yeah, I guess I was trying to anticipate a gank, but
Yeah.
it's not worth the time.
Yep. Because all you want is Kayn, just getting your 6 quickly.
In like the earlier season, like last season, I could hit 6 in 6 minutes, but in this season it's like 8 minutes.
Messed with stuff. Hopefully you leave. Oh. Wait.
I feel like he kind of misplays this, but like he just runs away from me.
He did.
But I ended up going like it was all right.
Good as long as you get out. Run, little Kayn. And you lost this game, right? Yeah. Okay, so I'm sure it's gonna go bad in a little bit. Because so far, like, you've made some mistakes, but it's been pretty calm of a game.
Yeah.
Running bot.
Another issue I have is it doesn't happen this game, but like in a lot of games, like I would say like maybe even as much as like 5 to 10% of my games,
Hmm?
I literally lose the whole game off of like starting the dragon, and then we all just like they just like collapse on us while we're doing the dragon, and I just like so I guess I'm really bad at knowing when to do the dragon.
Yeah.
Because there are some times where I feel like it's like free, but then like everyone just collapses and I'm by myself or I'm with one other person and we just lose the game off of it.
Yeah, so usually you need one of two things, ideally both. You either A, need to see that the jungler can't be there, or you need prio in your lanes. So the
Okay,
lanes
in
pushed
both
out.
lanes
Yeah.
or okay.
Yeah, oh, it depends. It depends. So like
Or like
sometimes you can get away with one lane if they're really ahead.
okay.
But like cuz let's say you have your bot lane has push. The problem is even though your bot lane may have push, if your mid lane can't move and their mid lane is a major threat like an Akali, it can still get dicey because you're having to tank the dragon.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. So yeah, I guess like a lot of times I don't even like even try to do the dragon until like maybe like 10 minutes like into the game, even though it comes up at 5.
Yeah. Well, okay. That's pretty normal on Kayn. He's not really the type of champion that's wanting to rush Drakes.
Okay.
Now, if you're playing something like Warwick, yeah, you want early Drakes. A little bit different with him. But with Kayn,
Gotcha.
like as long as you're getting your farm, that's your main priority.
Yeah. But even on Warwick, like if I'm doing it by myself, like level 4, level 5, it takes me like maybe like
it's still gonna take a
30
while.
seconds to do it.
Yeah, you can't just completely flip it.
Yeah.
Okay. Which way is this wave gonna push?
It seems like we're even. So
It's fairly close, yeah.
Sure.
It's
But I
close,
guess
but it's
like
gonna slightly push into your team. Because Varus is already autoing the wave.
okay. So yeah, I definitely can't do the dragon.
Right, so you can't do the dragon. Now, as you're walking towards bottom, what do we see? We see Soraka throwing a Q. We see Varus moving up.
Yeah.
Are they going to push the wave? What do you think? Yes or no?
Yeah, they will.
Right, so they're definitely looking to push. You can tell that just by the way that they're moving and trying to trade.
Yeah.
So what I would rather you do instead of... I'm not even sure what you're thinking here. Like, I don't know if this is dragon that you're thinking or ganking, but...
I think I just checked it to see if he was on it. But then this is, I guess, when I realized I should have gone in earlier. And then now it's too late to fight.
So what I'd rather you do, coming out of base... Oh, I see why you checked it, because you saw Jarvan go missing here. Okay, that makes sense. Instead, what you would do, like, if you have any suspicion he's there, you walk down, you hit this plant, and then you go back to your camp.
Okay.
To minimize this little window where you're walking around getting nothing.
I guess when like because the plant reveals like yourself as well. That's why I like typically avoid it. But I'm not really sure like when should I be using that or like not, because like if I'm looking to gank bot here, I don't want to hit the plant because I don't want to reveal myself.
The important thing about revealing yourself is what are the alternative options for the opponent? Because sometimes even if they know where you are, they still don't have another choice. For example, we determined, like, especially right now, this wave is going to push into them because we talked about like how Soraka was moving, Varus was moving, and they already hit the wave.
Yeah.
If they stop last hitting, is the wave still going to push into your team?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't avoid it. So even if they know you're there, they have one of two options. Either A, they still go for the crash and you gank them, or B, you do camps and they're stuck unable to farm because they're scared you're there.
Okay.
And you haven't burned any time whatsoever because you're just doing your camps, but they're terrified.
Yeah.
However, if, let's change the variables, let's say your teammates are pushing up, or they're like fighting a lot and it looks like they're going to push the wave, then yeah, that information would be relevant because they could just back up.
Okay. That makes sense.
Or if like Jarvan could go steal Herald, then again, that's also relevant, but you know that Jarvan is near the Drake because you saw him walk into the pit. You don't have to worry about him like sneaking something.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't think about this. Is a huge like waste of time. What I did here.
Yeah, because of the timing of it, it ends up pretty awkward for sure. Yeah, as I said, you would be doing one of your camps, you would be kiting towards bot lane, and then as soon as you see both sides walk into each other, you just either drop the camp or finish the camp and run straight through this wall.
Okay.
Straight into them.
Okay.
If you're there on time, then you can definitely turn this. Miss Fortune, yeah, she has ultimate, so it definitely works if you're there when. Nah, it's gonna be tough. Back away awkwardly. Yep. Camps. Oh no. Okay. What's wrong with this?
We just can't contest it.
Right. Yeah. You can't contest it. You probably even had a hunch during the game you can't contest it. But
Yeah.
the slight bit of hesitation, you're like, I'm still gonna try it.
Yeah, because I guess like they went towards it, so
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think the correct play is then?
Go to Herald maybe, or just clear.
Yes, clear. That's what we're looking for. So the downside of doing Drake is that you can't spend time clearing your camps.
Okay.
So what that means is like you see him on Drake, and this is why a lot of the times like scaling champions are willing to give Drakes because they know that it gives them an advantage in their clear.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to clear your bot side and then get to top side before he's able to finish Drake and do his bot side. So sometimes you could even like either do Herald or you could steal some camps in his top side. It kind of depends on what happens.
Yeah.
But the point is that all that goes away as soon as you try to contest it. Now all that
Gotcha.
like time advantage is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you end up dead. Okay. Cool. And so now you're really far behind relative to the Jarvan, and it's a mess. So this is usually the point where I'd be like, okay, we can go to the next game, unless you have a specific question.
I guess I just want to watch a little bit more.
Sure.
Because yeah, I guess it definitely, I think it was still winnable until the Kassadin got super fed, which he's not super fed yet. So I just want to see like when that happened, or if there's anything else I could have done, because I end up like obviously like 5-5 at the end of the game, so I feel like I definitely made a lot more mistakes. But let's just what should I have done here?
Yeah. Okay, so right now you're in a bit of an awkward spot because all you have up is your wolves, and Herald, but you don't know where Garen is at the moment.
Yeah.
At least you have Morgana move.
Yeah.
What you do, and if I turn off Fog of War to show it for a second, you walk down here and you hit this plant.
Oh.
Now,
Okay.
what does that plant give you? That information. What's it tell you?
I can check like blue wolves, or I can check Gromp.
Yeah. So ideally, right, you would do what you said. You would check the blue wolves. So you would see if they're up, the spawn timers if they're down. In this case, they're definitely up because you know Jarvan spent a lot of time bot side. But it would show that they're up. It would also show if Jarvan is at them or not.
Yeah.
And let's say back to this like earlier example where we were talking about the plant. If you hit this plant, what can Jarvan do with that? Is there anything he can do to you?
No, he just knows I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. There's no camps of yours he can take. You know he's going to topside, so he just has to take it.
Okay.
So you would do that, and then depending on what happens with Jarvan, you could either look to it's like hover a lane or start Herald if you think Jarvan isn't there. But it's pretty clear that he's gonna be there, so you're mostly just looking to get information and wait for something to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, like this is good. What you're doing right here, if you had hit the plant, just kind of like hovering in river and then waiting for some kind of fight. And the reason I'm saying in river instead of here
Yeah.
is because then you're not committed to one
Yeah.
option.
That makes sense.
Because if you're like here, then you could be like, okay, maybe I can go to mid lane, maybe I can go top lane. But now you have to go to Caston, even if Set goes for a fight. Which is like, yeah, if you're here on time, then this is pretty big. But now there's, yeah, no way. Yep.
He definitely could have lived, but
yeah, he could have. Camps, Jarvan gets Herald because of your mistake there. Raptors, good. Okay. Go back. So remember earlier I said the disadvantage of doing Drake is you can't do your camps.
Yeah.
Same thing applies to Herald.
I should have invaded like immediately.
Right. You know he can't be doing his camps.
Gotcha.
So you go straight to his Raptors, straight to his Krugs, especially because you don't have to worry about anybody rotating because you can see them on the map.
Yeah.
Actively.
Yeah. Right.
One thing that's great too, so any kind of champion that has the ability to get over walls like Kayn is gonna be really good. Like even Ivern, if people are positioned just right, could do it.
Yeah.
But like, so let's say you're doing Raptors, it's a lot easier to gank mid lane through here.
Yeah.
Than having to go from your camp.
Right.
And then same thing with Krugs, it's super easy to get a good position against the bot lane.
Yeah.
So if you have the option to take both of their camps in the mid game, there's going to be a lot of value in that. But obviously you have to know that they can't come kill you, which is why the Herald is so important.
Okay. That makes sense.
Got this whole fight. You did take the Raptors, but for the wrong reason, and then you didn't realize, oh, I could take the Krugs too.
So could I have taken the Krugs there,
Yeah.
I guess?
Yeah. You can take Krugs because of multiple reasons. When he kills the Herald, it's right now, so 12:30. We run here to the Raptors. 12:54. You got to think about. He's not going to run straight to his Krugs. He's going to reset. There's got a minimum a little bit of time it takes for him to recall, but he's got empowered recall, so we're going to say it's like 4 seconds for him to actually hit the B button and recall. So that puts him at 3:34, and then he has to run back over here. That takes like 20-ish seconds. So if he runs straight to Krugs, he could be there. But you also have Nami here. You have Misfortune here. And you know, like, you just got people low. Aston can't really move. The Varus is low. So yeah, you could take in his face and he can't stop you.
So I just ping them to help me, or like to hover.
Yeah. You would ping like on the way. You don't necessarily have to spam ping assistance or anything like that, but let them know that you are doing it.
Okay. I'm not sure what I did here.
Coming out of base, I don't like going top.
Okay.
I will turn timers. So we got 23 seconds on the Drake. That should be a pretty big clue in why I don't like you going top.
Okay. I saw this like video once where the guy was explaining like when Drake is about to come up, I like going top first because then those camps will like be up or something like along those lines. So ever since I saw that, I started doing that. But maybe like should I be doing it earlier?
Yes,
or something like
the timing needs to be way earlier.
Okay.
Yes. So ideally, it would be like a minute 30 is when you're running top, or like at your top camps. You clear both of them, so that gives you enough time to recall, spend your gold, and then you run 2 Drake.
Okay.
That would be the ideal situation. Yeah.
Okay. Another question I had is like for this scenario specifically, if let's say it was like a minute 30 earlier, but they're still like doing this Herald stuff on the bot tower,
You would still go bot.
I would still go bot. Okay, so
Yes.
so the main reason I'm going bot here is not because of the drag, but because of the Herald.
Yes, it's both, but yes, the main priority reason is because they dropped Herald here, and you know there's going to be a fight.
Okay. Because if there's no fight, like then I just wasted like, because we could we can't stop the Herald, so I thought maybe we'll just like eat it, and
So
then
you can definitely stop the Herald if you're here. You can walk up and hover.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not looking for a proper fight because your ultimate's not up quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
But you can definitely stall, and then once your ultimate's up, then you can look for something for sure.
Okay.
But if you're here late like this, then they're just going to take it in your face.
Yeah.
Kind of off topic, but am I wrong in assuming that you don't review your own games?
I don't. Yeah.
Is there a reason for that?
It's just kind of boring, I guess. It's a
Right.
lot more like, I guess. No, I definitely shouldn't. I've thought about it for a long time, but then every time it like comes down to actually doing it, I just get bored. Like, I just like tell myself I'd rather just play.
Okay. So let's say you were to do a review of your games, because if you're getting bored, it sounds like you're putting too much into it.
Okay.
Because like if you're reviewing a game, if you're going over 5 minutes, you've spent too long on it.
Oh, okay.
So like for example, like the easiest way to do it, especially if like you're not experienced with reviewing or like you're kind of skeptical about it, the easiest way is just go in and look at your deaths real quick, just like the first couple deaths, and be like, why did I die?
Mhm.
And then try to figure out if there's a pattern or what's causing it. Like for example,
Okay.
you could go in, first death, was it? Where was the death? So bad at figuring this out. Okay,
It just happened.
got it. Okay, like the first death, you go in and you look. Now you may not have a perfect assessment of why you died.
Mhm.
Without me, do you think you could have determined like, oh, I died here because I tried to contest the Drake that we can't win?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So if you
I
think
should've
you
just,
can,
like-
Mhm.
I should have just let the Nami die there.
Right.
And okay.
So if you're able to assess that without me, then that's like good enough to work with. You
Okay.
don't have to have a perfect idea. You just get like a general idea of like, okay, why am I dying? So that you have something to think about during your games. Like, okay, I need to be more conscious of giving objectives or doing whatever relative to the opponent's priority or strength, whatever it may be. Just taking something from the game to learn. Because if you're literally playing 48 or 44 games, 48 hours. Now, I know you said you don't normally do that, but
Yeah.
the point that I'm saying is like if you're playing that much games, obviously you care about climbing. You said you're playing champs literally just to climb. So obviously
Right.
you care about that.
Right.
You would save so much more time by reviewing even just a little bit,
Mhm.
and it would help so much with your autopilot issue
Right.
compared to just spamming out games like that that are like so much lower quality.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so I think we were like, but yeah, so the reason I brought that all up is because like I'm assuming that when you at least were thinking about doing reviews, your thought process was to go through the whole game. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or yeah, at least like spend like a good amount of time like
Yeah.
really analyzing.
Right. Because then what ends up happening if you actually do that is you're so mentally tired by the time you start your games, you're just like playing terribly.
Okay.
Spent way too much mental energy. It should feel more like a warm up than an actual like drill.
Okay. So review your games before you start playing.
Yeah,
Not
that's what I
after.
do. I
Okay.
review my games from like the previous set of games that I played before, just go through
Okay.
them real quick.
Okay.
The nice thing about that, especially if you play a bunch, is you've got like a bulk of games to get like idea.
And you usually review like every game you've played.
Yeah, well, so what I do, I'll play like so a lot of times I'll play like 6 games a day on average. Um,
Okay.
so I'll play in sets of three. So like I'll play 3 games, and then before the next 3 games, I'll take a break, do whatever, and the next 3 games I will review these and then play my next 3, and just like repeat
Okay.
that cycle of reviewing the previous days and then go next.
Yeah.
Now I don't think you need to do that like immediately going in and just reviewing every single game, because you don't want to end up in a situation where you just drop it.
Okay.
It defeats the purpose. Um, so instead, what you should do is just work your way into it. Maybe like let's say you play, I don't know, like 7 games in a day or whatever.
Mhm.
Just pick one of them that you felt really confused on like why you lost, and just spend a little bit looking at it and then being like, okay, at least there's some kind of reason why I lost, and then take that from it.
Okay.
And then over time, you can like work your way up into reviewing every game if you feel you have the time and the desire to do so. But
Yeah.
one is better than literally no reviewing.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh yeah. So let's
Oh yeah,
see.
this was a really
I
bad
was just
time.
kind of like having it play while I was talking. I don't know where. I think this was where. Yes, you took Raptors here. Wait, this is a different Raptors.
Yeah, this is second Raptors.
Death. I can go from here. Yeah, did you have anything particular in mind with this VOD, if you remember?
Um, I just like I feel like it's still winnable at this point in the game. So I guess I don't remember a specific like I don't remember exactly what happened, but
Let's see. Okay, so by here, it looks really
yeah,
bad. So I'm gonna assume
yeah,
before here.
yeah.
Okay, so like here is decent. We'll play from here and see what we've got. Why are we split pushing on Kayn?
I think there was just like a free wave, so I just took it. I don't know. Remember exactly.
Let's pretend we're the enemy team. We're gonna go blue side vision. Alright.
Mm.
We know Drake's up in a minute.
Uh-huh.
And we see the enemy Kayn hitting our turret. What do we do with
Yeah.
that information?
You get vision around drag.
Yeah, you get vision. Ideally, you get Garen to stall, and then Drake's free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I should have just not been topside at all right now.
The alternative option is if, let's say, I guess for their perspective, it's the enemy, but your team. If your team walks up and has any funny ideas about pushing a wave, they're gonna get collapsed on because they know that
Yeah.
you can't stop them.
Yeah.
This is not your job. This is something that one of your laners should be doing.
Okay. And if they're not doing it, I just like let it be.
Yeah, yeah. Like you can go and catch a wave, but you don't want to spend a long period of time in a side lane like this.
So just leave maybe after that.
Yeah, you'd leave after the
Okay.
wave, and then you would run through here, and you look to hover your teammates or recall, do whatever,
Okay.
to make sure you're actually there. Because if you're not there, that's how this happens. And then usually that's when teammates get caught. Boom, right there. 2 deaths, both because you showed top.
Okay. That makes sense.
what's going to happen now is that you guys can't walk into Drake Pit. They're going to kill Misfortune, get her bounty, and you guys are probably going to get wiped. Yep.
Yeah. I think this was where the game's lost, but it felt winnable until the third drag.
Yeah. So that would be like that was a really big throw. Now, the important thing to keep in mind is like now, yes, that mistake was really bad, but don't let that distract you from the previous mistakes that were also just important.
Okay.
That's like the important thing to keep in mind. Always prioritize what happens first versus what happens later, unless you know it's like a really common trend. Like if you're just dying doing this thing literally every game, then yeah, start prioritizing it. But otherwise, early game's gonna be more important because that's what creates the snowball to begin with.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you still got time, we can look at another one.
Yeah, let me see my games. Oh, what is that Warwick game? I'm wondering. I don't see it on my op.gg.
Are your days blurring together on when you played it?
Oh, this game. No, I don't want to review. I'm trying to think if it was like a winnable game. Yeah, I think yeah, we can review that Warwick game, the most recent one.
572. This one.
Yeah.
See what you're cooking up here with this.
Mm-hmm.
Too crazy. I'm really not a fan of Jack Show on Warwick, by the way.
I'm actually not a fan either, but I don't know what to build. It's like I can't really find anything, but I've been building it like forever, but I feel like it sucks. But I don't know what else to build.
Yeah, so there's two different ways that you can do Warwick. What I used to do and what I recommend like low elo or less experienced Warwick players do is like you can go Ravenous into Divine Sunderer. That's like
Okay.
one option. If you're gonna do that, you go PTA, not Lethal Tempo, because it's really hard to stack it with that kind of build.
Oh, really? Just
Yeah.
because you're really squishy?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And just in general, your fights aren't going to be long enough.
Okay. I guess another follow-up question is, I mostly take lethal tempo for the early game,
right.
like before I even finish an item. So is it still worth it in that case? Because I really don't like PTA on Warwick. I like lethal a lot, especially like before you get an item.
If you really like lethal early game, then you're taking some stupid fights.
Okay.
Because yeah, it sounds like you're invading a lot if you're wanting lethal tempo. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay. That's where that's going to come from.
Okay.
Because you'll notice, like, if you look at your lethal tempo for ganks, you're never going to proc it.
Okay.
Because on Warwick, if you're playing him properly, lethal tempo is a scaling rune, and PTA is more of like an early game burst.
Okay. I didn't know that. I guess I thought lethal was early game as well because like I guess some champions like maybe like a Yasuo or Yon or something they'll
You will
they'll
have
buy a
your
lot of
brief
attacks.
times where it pops off in early game, but those are like rare compared to how often it's literally just not going to be procced.
Or just like I guess what I thought is like they buy attack speed, so lethal tempo is like doesn't really matter much late game, but it matters a lot early game when you like don't have any attack speed items. But I don't know if that's like an accurate assessment.
I'm not sure I'm following that line of thought.
Like lethal tempo is sort of a replacement for attack speed until you buy attack speed items. And then like
Kinda. I mean, but that's what you
then
have
it does.
Legend Alacrity for.
Okay. Okay, I got you.
Okay, but yeah, so the other build, the one that I personally go, is with Lethal Tempo, and I start off with Tiamat, then I go Stridebreaker, and finish it with Titanic Hydra. The difference with the build is you have a lot more HP, and the Stridebreaker slow makes it to where you can actually maintain Lethal Tempo, because you can stick to them.
Okay.
But if you don't have that, what the problem is going to happen, like especially if you go Jack Show with Ravenous or whatever, the only way you're proccing that lethal is if they agree to fighting you.
Okay.
But if they back off, you don't have enough like ability to stick a lot of the time.
Yeah, and Q procs press the attack as well, right?
Yes, it applies for Lethal
Okay.
Tempo and it applies for PT.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna try those out because no, I've hated Jack Show for the longest time, but and I feel I always look at like my health drained and it's like it's always like nothing.
Yeah, it's
So I'm always
terrible.
wondering like what am I doing building this?
Okay, so now,
So the Stridebreaker build is more scaling.
yes, it's better. Compared to the Ravenous, it's better a little bit later. Like it spikes a little bit later.
And in what cases should I go Ravenous versus Titanic? Because I've tried both of them a lot, and I'm always fluctuating between which one I like more.
The Ravenous. So if you are going to go Ravenous, you have to build it first item because you need to stack it.
Okay.
So if you're gonna do it first item, then you can do that with like the Sunderer build I was talking about. I don't really go that build anymore, but you can if you like the build and you find it simple or whatever. But I prefer, at least in my own games, Titanic because I'd rather have the HP for the longer fights with Lethal Tempo. However you want to play.
Okay.
Warwick.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not a fan of Green Pat after the nerf, by the way.
So, yeah, I haven't kept up with the notes, but so what should you take now? Like always blue? Okay. Unlike on every champion?
No, just on Warwick specifically.
Okay.
Because they took away the tenacity that it used to give.
Mm-hmm.
I'd just rather have blue. Okay, so this game, you are pathing up. What's the reasoning?
It's just easier lane to gank. Like I'm looking for early game ganking. So
Yep.
Aatrox has CC.
Yep.
And then I always like try to invade. So like, if they're pathing top as well, I can catch him at his red maybe. But that's sort of like a backup plan. Like that's what I was saying earlier about how I feel like I'm really struggling to play Warwick because I feel like I have to force place in order to make something work, and so
that'll happen. What you need to do is just get early game invading out of your head, and it'll go a lot smoother.
Okay, so don't invade at all. Early game.
So now, okay, there can be exceptions. Like if you see the enemy is really low HP, obviously, yeah, you can make an exception. But when it comes to pathing, don't path around invading, just path around where you're going to get an early kill. So that reasoning with Aatrox and Renekton, I like that. That's what you should focus on, not where the Hecarim is pathing to try to invade him.
Okay, I'll be honest. Like I think like 90% of the first bloods I get are like from invades.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree that it's not like a consistent play style, but I guess what do you do when like your clear speed sucks? Like I've done pretty much like every game that I've played Warwick to climb is like red, blue, Gromp to their red. Don't do this. Okay.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier the reason you were picking Jarvan is because you saw Agron playing Jarvan, right?
Yeah.
Does Agron do this?
No, he full clears on Jarvan.
Right, he full clears. He full clears on Jarvan, he full clears on Elise, he full clears on Kha'Zix. Same thing with Warwick.
Really? Full clear?
Yeah, you want to be full clear. Now, I mean, you can do level 3 ganks. I'm not saying you can't. But at least clear the same side before you do something.
Okay.
Because this is why, like, you're talking about if you don't get a lead, you're screwed. Because, yeah, you are screwing yourself if you don't get a lead doing this.
Okay.
Because what's going to happen, you're going to do this. You're going to do your Gromp. Okay. Do you understand what I mean when I say you're desyncing your camps?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because if you don't get a kill, everything's out of whack.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
We are just praying we kill this Renekton. Please, man. Also, you should go behind, not this way. Yep. Alright, GG, we lost. Okay.
Yeah,
We have completely flipped the game over that gank.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. But I guess I see your point. No, I've always known that. I guess I never thought anybody would suggest full clearing on Warwick.
Yeah. So instead, what we do is you full clear, and then you start looking for options after. If the Caston does really stupid stuff, like this, for example, if you see him start to get lower HP, so let's say he's like here, as you're doing your Raptors, absolutely, yeah, just go wrap around here, get a kill, great. But otherwise, you keep clearing up and just keep looking for options.
I usually never like leave unless I have level 3, and getting level 3 on red side is like so hard. Like at least it takes forever, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I was.
Do you know what your full clear time is? Have you like tried it in practice tool?
No, not on Warwick. I've never tried it.
Okay. That might be
But
something you need to practice then. Maybe a little bit. Or at least like get a rough idea of your clear time. Because if you're full clearing and it's over 330, then you'll need to practice it.
Oh, so it's possible to get 330 on Warwick.
Like so okay. When I'm doing, because the red side is slower than starting blue side.
Right.
When I do red side, usually my average clear is like 328, 329-ish without a leash.
Uh-huh.
And then I think my best one was like 326, but and then blue side it's a little bit faster, so you can get more like 325, 3 whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should be able to finish and get to scuttle on spawn. Now you'll have to use both smites. Like I'm not saying you won't have to do that.
Okay.
But yeah, you should be able to have it to where it's playable.
Gotcha. So you get to scuttle without having smite up.
Correct. You're not gonna have smite if you're getting there on time. Now, of course, that can change though if you get a good leash. Like if you have double range and you kite the camps well, you can get to scuttle with smite up.
Okay.
But it just kind of depends.
Okay.
This is, oh my god, this is a nightmare to play from. Okay, yeah, your clear needs work too. I can already tell you're not hitting a 330 clear. Okay. When you're clearing this camp, one thing to note, you have red buff. What does red buff do?
It burns.
It burns. Yeah, gives you the dot. So what you want to do is when you start the camp, you want to auto one of them, cue the big wolf, auto the other. That way they're all burning. While they're burning, you keep hitting the big wolf until the burn stops, and you auto them again. Okay. You do the same thing with raptors, same thing with krugs. And so if you're not doing that, yeah, this is going to really suck. Okay. Your clear is going to be super slow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You're still level 3.5. Ekram's already done his full clear and a scuttle. Excellent. Uh-oh. Didn't we recall?
I don't know what I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Oh, goodness. Okay. At least you get the kill there. Great. We're gaming, I guess. I'm hoping that you go and you clear your bot side now. Instead, we're
I
showing
don't.
on vision, and they're not even here.
He was in that bush.
Oh,
but
okay. I just can't see blood trail. Wait, no. Wait.
he like just got his recall off.
Oh, okay.
His-
Yeah, it's just the
his
spectate thing. It's
race.
not showing the blood trail. Okay.
Yeah,
I
this was
gotcha.
really a sad.
Yeah, yeah. I see what you're looking for, at least. It's still grief, but I see it.
Oh,
Because the alternative option is you do your Raptors, do your Krugs, then you have enough gold for Tiamat, and then it's fine.
yeah.
You're sitting on 2 smites. Don't do your wolves! What did
I don't. Sometimes I don't know like if my respawn timer's bugged, but I don't see the 15-second thing sometimes. I don't know how it works, but sometimes they just show up. Like I don't get the like little yellow thing.
Well, here you might
So
not have noticed the yellow because you were standing on top of it, so your portrait covered
okay, okay.
it.
But I
Outside of
guess
that,
I'm
I don't know.
asking: do you know like scenarios in which that happens, or is it just maybe I just need to be paying more attention?
No, I haven't seen that bug if that's a thing.
Okay, okay,
The only time that happens is like, as I say, if your portrait's on it, and then sometimes I'd be like, "Wait, what? Where's the camp?" And then I realize, oh, I'm just covering it with my character.
okay.
But even then, even if like the little indicator isn't there, you should still know it's coming up based on when you killed the camps.
Is it 2 minutes after?
215.
2:15. Okay.
215 for everything when it comes to like these 4.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
what is it for red and blue?
5.
Yep, 5 minutes.
So do you play Warwick like in your master games, or like not
No.
often?
Yeah, okay, so
Okay.
well, I my peaks for my roles are different, to clarify. So in
Okay.
top lane I peak master, in jungle I peak D2, but I did play Warwick for that, yeah.
Okay.
Play a lot of Warwick.
Because yeah, honestly, I guess I just don't understand the champion well. Because I've always told myself like, there's no way I'm hitting diamond on Warwick. I need to pick up like a new champion.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I think like after Diamond, Warwick does become more difficult to get value out of compared to other champions. But up to Diamond, I see no issues with Warwick.
Okay.
The only reason you're having difficulties is because of all this you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, so this game, like, even if I'm playing it, I don't want to play it. Really
Okay.
don't. 'Cause this looks so doomed. So what I would like to do, if you're fine with it, is see one where you got a kill, and then see what you
Okay.
did with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
This looks just so doomed.
Let me find it.
You
Do
had
you
like a
ever
15-1
review?
game.
Yeah. Do you ever review like wins? I guess that's what I was gonna ask next.
Yeah, I review all my games,
Okay.
regardless of the result.
The 15-1. I guess I'm trying to find a game that's like I don't know. Do you think it's still like productive to review like stomps and stuff?
Yeah, yeah, I can
Okay.
definitely still look at it. I don't think I'll have issues.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we can review that one. I guess um I just didn't know. But yeah, there. I think when I'm ahead, I play like I think I play really well. I even had like on one of the websites I had like the stat line where it's like how you play when you're ahead, how you play when you're behind, like
League of
compared
Graphs.
to that. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
like I think I was like plus 15% and like minus 10%
Yeah,
for
well, I
ahead
mean
and
that's
behind.
to be expected with Warwick, especially with how you're playing.
Yeah. So yeah, you're gonna see the same pathing even, because that's what I always do. But I definitely will try out here.
Oh, I don't care what role or champion you're playing. Don't level an ability until you're going to use it. Like you leveled Q out of habit,
Okay.
but then you start invading, and it's like, well, what if you need a different ability?
Okay. What I guess ability do you take sometimes in invades fear?
Like you could in a niche situation where you need it to live or you need to scare them, or sometimes like if you're scared you're gonna get invaded, you could start your W. It's very
Oh, for
rare, but the point that I'm
okay.
getting at is like there's
Okay.
no
'Cause
downside to
yeah,
waiting.
yeah. No, because I do that on most champions, but
Yeah,
I guess I never thought to do it on Warwick.
got him with the flash too. Go, got a little bit of an assist. Let me see if that was chaosable.
Oh, should I have cast it?
On Warwick
I
specifically, always chaos the first kill if you can.
okay.
Yeah, so literally, unironically, I want you to hold your Q to take this kill.
Okay.
I kid you not. Now, this is super specific to Warwick because if you get this Q, what does that mean you can do?
So I always buy boots first, but I don't know if that's the right answer.
No.
But like historically, that's what I've done.
Okay. Um,
Should I just buy a longsword?
Let me actually look and see what you buy. This. Let's. Yeah. Okay. No, but what I'm. Okay. Let me phrase it. I'm not wanting you to recall right now. What I'm getting at is, sir, let's say you do a full clear. Do you know how much gold you'll have at the end of the full clear?
I think around 1100.
No. If you do a full clear, so you do your 6 camps and you do scuttle, you're at roughly 950. Roughly.
Okay. Okay.
Now, if you get an assist, do you have enough gold for Tiamat?
No.
Now, if you get a kill, you do.
Yeah.
So that is why I'm saying it's so important to get this kill, because then you can full clear and you have enough gold for Tiamat and you don't have to worry about doing anything crazy.
Okay.
So it's super specific to Warwick on like why this kill is so important.
Okay. That makes sense. So if like you were playing, you just take that full clear and get Tiamat.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, if like there's a great gank to go for, sure. But I will happily just recall after full clear and get that Tiamat. That's all I care about in my early game is that I'm getting Tiamat on first back.
Okay. And if you don't get a kill?
So like right
after
here?
After your full clear, like just in your games, after your full clear, what do you do if you don't get that first kill, or if you don't get a kill?
Okay.
And you're at 950.
Then I would recall and get pickaxe, but in a large majority of your games, you should be getting a kill. If you're not seeing a kill window, you probably just are messing up somewhere.
Okay. And could that messing up be like pathing top or pathing bot?
It could. Yep. It could be where you're pathing. It could be you're not looking at the lanes enough or assessing what's going to happen in the lanes. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It could be that you're 3 camping.
Yeah.
So yeah, as said, I mean, obviously I know you're going to 3 camp because we talked about that earlier. Just see what you do. Okay. I like this gank, and this same gank would have worked just fine with the regular bot side, but we'll do it. Ah, okay. You have a tendency that a lot of Warwick players do. Okay.
Fearing backwards? Is it are you gonna say like fearing backwards instead of just like holding it?
Well, that's part of it, yeah. Okay. When you E, so let me get it right when you E. You're starting the E right now. You should be starting the E during your Q.
Oh.
So while you're holding the Q, you can start the E, and then you auto once E, and then fears them. They can't avoid it because you started it during the Q, and then by the time you auto and fear them, like they can't get out of your range.
So just to clarify, like start the Q through E while you're queuing through.
Yes.
And then auto ones after you're done queuing through.
Yes. And the reason you do that auto is because it still has that tiny little bit that your E needs to finish before you can fear, and then you fear them.
Okay, and I guess is that like considered like an animation cancel or?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the difference is like, so let's say, because I see it all the time. Let's say you do it this way. So you start with E, like you did. Right now, let's say he flashed right as you hit E.
Yeah, he lives.
Then it gets really awkward. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you start with Q, even if he flashes, he can't get out.
Yeah.
Another thing that is the benefit of not doing either is because you can't auto attack while you're using your E, like the charge part.
Right. Right.
Um, you're missing out. Like right now, you'd want to just auto him. Just auto him. You have the red buff slow, so you could even look for another auto if you wanted to,
Right.
and then go through. And this is all really important if you're going lethal tempo because you've got to min max these autos to get as many
Right.
as you can on your lethal tempo. But it's the same thing for PTA too, like being able to proc it earlier, get every little bit. Because as I said there, like you didn't auto before your E, so you're at 4, but you should be at 5, maybe even 6 if you play it really well on your stacks of lethal tempo by the time you're done with your feat.
Okay.
And you definitely missed out on a kill there.
Okay. That makes sense.
Nice little chomp. Okay, wonderful. Do scuttle into recall. Oh no. Actually, this is fine. Okay, he's inting. Yes, this is fine. Barely we recall now. Barely. Uh-oh. You know what? Screw it. I mean, if it's gonna keep being this free, I mean, I guess. Okay. Now we recall. Don't touch the wave. Yes, we got 2,000 gold and we're spending it. Alright.
So I guess going bot there, what is the I guess pros, like is it a risky play, like would, or do you just want to recall just because you have the gold you need and like
Hold on. I think my
screw it?
client just broke.
Oh no.
Legends. Gotta love it. Okay. But yeah, so my immediate thought before I actually looked bot lane was that you have enough gold for Tiamat, so you want to go back and get it.
Okay.
Now, you going bot was good though, once I actually looked at what was happening,
Okay.
because they were pushing and they were low HP. So yeah, the gank was good, I just didn't see the context yet.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, like seeing this, yeah, it's definitely a good game.
Okay.
But this is kind of a good example of like, I know this is obviously extreme in how many ganks you're getting, but this goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, if you're not seeing opportunities for Tiamat, especially in the elo you're playing in, then you need to really look deeper and it's like, okay, I'm missing something.
Okay. Makes sense.
Awkward E flag.
Yeah, how should I, or what should I have done instead? Just chase him or wait for blitz?
I think you queued through the misfortune. I think that's part of where you went wrong. No, you did regular queue. Oh, okay.
I should have E'd like in the queue again.
No, not that. Alright. We see the Xerath right here. Xerath is going to walk this direction.
Yeah. Should I have started with him?
What you should be doing is you should be running this way.
Okay.
But we're going to play it, and look how you're...
Yeah.
Now you're going this way, he's going this way, now you're out of range instead of cutting him off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Out, so that's why you had to flash, but then... I don't know why Blitzcrank flashed, he did not need to do that. Okay. Finally recall. Came out double longsword. Down. Look for a gank maybe here. Probably not though. He's playing pretty safe. I would like this a lot more if Lissandra had ultimate.
Okay.
Works.
Is it? I guess like I know Warwick's not a mechanical champion, but
Yep.
I guess is it difficult to time the E through the in like during the Q?
Not really, no.
Okay, so just QE instead of EQ. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, just
Okay.
while you're holding the Q, hit E. And maybe you'll mess it up like once when you're practicing it, but it shouldn't take long to get it down.
Okay.
Speaking of Warwick mechanics, do you know how to Q after your R so that they can't flash immediately and get out of? You know what I'm talking about?
Like I just hold Q while my R is like
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to do that? Then good. Oh my god, there are just so many free ganks this game. It's actually just a dream game for Warwick. This is insane.
Yeah.
Got Drake up. Ah, we messed up. Okay.
Should we have gone for it? This was like after I had like PTSD from throwing a lot of games at
Yeah.
drag.
So I don't want you to go to
just
Drake, to clarify.
Okay. Okay.
Not what I want. What I want is for you to go bot. What do we see
Okay.
right now?
They're pushing.
Pushing? Yep. Now you do have to wait for Blitzcrank. Actually, you probably don't have to. But they're pushing.
Mm-hmm.
That Misfortune is 0-3, so she's weak.
Yeah.
And you are a very fed Warwick that can just come and double kill them and then do the dragon.
Okay.
Because you know that they're going to push if you look at this during the game.
Okay. And you'd prefer that? I guess like I just thought like saw everything was up top side. Rift is up top side too.
Yeah.
But you'd still prefer this play.
Yes, because this is a guaranteed double kill.
Okay.
Because they are going to push, and you know that it's going to happen because they're going to see, oh, it's just Caitlyn. They're going to push the wave, and then you run in there and you kill them. Now, you would go topside in a different scenario if, let's say, Caitlyn just recalled, or if she's about to crash a wave and there's nothing to do. Then yeah, you would go top.
If she's about to crash the wave, then should I ping drag or no?
No.
Okay. Because she wants to recall.
Yeah, because she wants to recall. The only time you would do dragon in that instance is like, well, ideally you don't do dragon if your topside camps are up, and that's what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Because then Kayn can just take like
right, because he can take them. Okay. If he takes that and Herald, then you lose out on that.
Okay.
So I would rather, I would rather you not just do the dragon. I'd rather you prioritize camps and Herald.
So I guess in the last like 3 minutes, did you ever see a window to take the dragon?
No.
Okay.
Not a good one. I mean, maybe you could sneak one, but I don't think it's worth doing in the scenarios that you had.
Yeah. And Ocean Dragon like so hard to take.
Yeah, for sure. Now, if we see Kayn doing dragon, then we can do that though. See Kayn, speaking of. You did that thing where you started with the E. Guess you're just barely out of range. Tragic occurrence. Got him. Awesome. Say Krugs. Know what that was.
I think there's like a low Zerat, but yeah, it wasn't like a
Low enemies.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Zerat was there.
Let's pretend or not pretend. We'll turn off fog. So we see Xerath.
Yeah.
Which is worth more, the kill on the Xerath support or the Herald?
Herald. Yeah.
We're getting very baited by the blood scent here.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I'd rather you do Herald than that. The alternative option is instead of doing Herald, you could recall. That's fine as well. But I definitely don't like just chasing the Xerath and showing where you're on the map.
Okay.
This is really forced. There's multiple reasons why this doesn't work. First one, she's already crashed the wave.
Okay.
But also, you used your W, so you alerted her.
Yeah.
Like, if you wait and she hits turret, sure.
Yeah.
But not before then. Now she's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's Warwick.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And you should be fine with her recalling, too, because what does that mean?
Free drag?
Yeah, then you can do Drake, because she can't be there.
Okay.
Now, do you start the Drake before she finishes recalling, or after she finishes recalling?
Before.
Right. Now, why?
Just takes her longer to get back.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta finish it before she gets back to where she can actually be an issue. Yep. Hoping we do Herald instead of chasing the Fat Man. Better win this. Got the whole squad, though.
I messed up my flash. I would have gotten at least one.
Yep.
Okay, can you play like slower? I'm trying to see, like it was with my cursor or when the Gragas shows up.
Yeah, I want to see if you
Like
just
how
the E during your there. Accident. I'll do 0.5. Oh no, you used it early.
I honestly I've never even like realized I could do that. I never even thought about it.
Yeah. See what you mean with the flash there.
Was that like flash possible if I like did it better?
No.
Okay.
With Gragas there, there's no way out of that.
Okay.
He's gonna clip you regardless.
I just have to flash out or I don't know, just not be there.
Yeah, I mean, ideally you just don't do the whole thing with Gragas beforehand. But at this point, so there's multiple issues that you could look at. The first one being,
I should know they're gonna collapse.
yeah, yes, like you shouldn't be top. You should know they're going to collapse. But I'm going to look at this purely from a mechanical standpoint. How you
Okay.
first thing, instead of starting with E, you want to start with an auto and Q.
Okay.
One, because your Q is an auto attack reset, so whenever you can, you want to benefit from that.
Okay. Doesn't matter like short or long Q, or short to stack lethal, maybe.
Okay. You want to do a long Q because if he uses his dash when you use a short Q, then it's going to be tough.
Okay.
Now, if he's a dashless champion and you know he's committing to a fight, you can do a short Q because the animation is faster.
Okay.
But I wouldn't do that in this scenario.
Okay.
But yeah, so you would auto Q. That would give you 2 stacks lethal instead of your 1 that you have right now. And you still would not use your E. Okay. Why do we not use the E?
We just don't need it to beat him.
Yes. You don't need it. And if you have your E later, then that means you can use it when your passive is at full value at 25% HP.
Okay.
But if you use it now, when you're above 50% HP, you're getting very little value.
Yeah.
You're not healing at all from your passive.
Yeah.
Then, what did you do?
Ulting.
You ulted before you're hitting the threshold.
Yeah.
So when you're playing Warwick, you need to be a little bit more psychopathic. You need to be willing to get really low before you use your abilities.
Yeah.
A lot of people have difficulty with that.
Yeah.
But that's one of the reasons why earlier I talked about the build that I recommend for like some lower elo players is the Ravenous Divine Sunderer, because the benefit of that build is it gives you really good practice with fighting at low HP because it's a whole lot of healing, and then you get used to playing around that. But even with the the build that I go, as long as you're conscious about it, it's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, really got to look at your E usages when you're using it, because that's a common thing. Is like you're using it too early, either because it's before your Q or when you're too high HP.
Yeah.
Drake, this is fine. They're busy bot. Yep. You can run in here too. Great. Take his camps. Yeah. Just ulted? What?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, he still take his blue. Fine. Man, you are just chasing so hard this game.
Yeah, that was really stupid.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a fan of W max, by the way, instead of like the 3 and max
Okay.
Q.
Okay.
Especially if you're going lethal tempo, you're gonna get more value out of the extra attack speed.
Yeah. Does W give you more attack speed, like even at 100% HP? Like when your enemy's at full HP?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you're only getting that value of 50%. But you get the extra movement speed and cooldown, which is huge.
Okay. So yeah, when do you use your W? Just like when you're approaching a fight, or I use it just like to find people, or like if I'm trying to run into a fight that is like just starting.
Yeah, that's the main way. There's two ways to use it. One, as you said, is you know a fight's there. You already see a fight and you're just like running to your opponent. You use it
Yeah.
as soon as you know they can't get out.
Okay.
Because you don't want to end up in the situation I talked about earlier where you spook them and they run away.
Yeah.
But if you know that even if they run away, you can still get them, that's the time to use W.
Okay.
And then the other time is like more of a mid game or late game thing, especially if you're behind, is using your W to scout areas.
Yeah.
Where you'll just tap in and be like, oh, somebody's in my camp or someone's not in my camp, and then you work with that information.
Yeah.
But usually it's just the first one.
Okay.
So yeah, I could look at more of this VOD, but like this was, as you said, it was a stomp, and I think there's already a lot to like take away from this VOD anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
So yeah, this is probably a good spot to like kind of wrap it up. Do you have any remaining questions or anything?
I think just like I wanted to like summarize with you, just so I make sure I don't miss anything, and then like what you think I should do going forward, like maybe like in terms of how many games to play, or like what champions I should, like my main idea after this was like I feel like I learned a lot about Warwick, and I feel like that's the champion I have. Like I think I have like 400k mastery on, so I feel very comfortable playing him. And I was just gonna spam both of the builds you mentioned and see which one I like more.
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
Okay.
I think it's up to you. And when it comes to, so I'm a big fan of one tricking, but I'm not saying you have to do that by any means. And that's why I brought in the being realistic. Because if you think that you're going to have an issue with boredom, because you mentioned that with reviews, then play 2. I definitely wouldn't stretch it to 3 in platinum.
Okay.
But if you think like you're gonna get bored or you just need a break sometimes, then pick a second one. I don't care what the champ is, as long as you stick to it.
Okay.
And then that'll be fine. Do you think that's something you can realistically do, sticking to 2?
Yeah, I think like for example, like Kayn and Jarvan get banned a lot, so that's why like I have like 3-ish, because for that reason. But I could definitely like just play like Warwick and Jarvan, or like War.
See, you're
I'll
already
have to think
struggling.
about it. I'll have to think about it,
Yeah, yeah,
but I'll definitely play Warwick still, and then
yeah.
I'll have to pick one of the other two.
Figure that out. Um,
Another question I had was about like, and is this something I should be thinking about, or I don't really understand. Like whenever you watch like streamers and stuff, they'll always say, "Oh, like they kind of just like know how to analyze the team comps." I feel like I don't know how to do that whatsoever, and like how to understand like what champion I should be picking, or maybe like I'm not at that level yet, so it's not important. But even
yeah.
like at least knowing like Warwick is good this game, Warwick is bad this game. Like I think what I look at is like, yeah, like how much are they gonna fight? So like melee versus melee matchups. I feel like Warwick is good at influencing those. I kind of know like what junglers are like kind of easier to play against. On Warwick, it's like the majority of them, but like some of the ones that give me like some of a hard time, like maybe like Master Yi's or like Briars or like Graves, um, yeah, like any of the ranged ones. Also, I'm like, okay, this is like kind of annoying to play. But I guess I don't.
Are you saying Briar is an annoying matchup? Or
Yeah, I feel
because
like
that's my
she
favorite matchup on Warwick. I love
really.
playing against Briar.
I've just banned her like since she came out, because any game I play against her, I feel like the late game healing is just like it's so disgusting. Like
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
lot of Briar players, they just do the same thing over and over again, and for the first 10 minutes of the game it doesn't work, and then it just magically it just starts working. Where they just like just like run in, do whatever nonsense the champion does inside. Yeah, but I guess maybe I can just like watch like a video on Briar to understand the matchup better.
Yeah,
But
just understand what she does, and then if they're running it the first 10 minutes, then you already got what you need.
yeah, um but yeah, I just like overall like how to analyze team comps, or like what's like a easy like a rule of thumb maybe
Oh.
that I can follow.
So I think there's multiple approaches. One, it's a lot easier to do that if you play multiple roles, ideally.
Okay.
Um, but considering you're in platinum, and I know you did say you play support sometimes, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's gonna be a lot harder to like really assess like the laner's perspective if you don't really play solo lanes.
Yeah.
Um, but that's not that big of a deal. When it comes to like assessing comps or whether Warwick is good or not, or any champion, you just think about what your champion likes. So we'll start off with Warwick. Warwick
Yeah.
likes, especially if you're going the lethal tempo route, he likes really long fights where he's at low HP because he's just draining for a lot.
Yeah.
He doesn't like playing against ranged champions because they can break his W movement speed,
Gotcha.
generally. Um, that's why, for example, like Ashe is really obnoxious for Warwick early game because it's so hard to gank her. She'll just throw a W and you can't dodge it. You're just
Yeah.
gonna lose your movement speed.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, any kind of situation where like the enemy team has a lot of melees, especially if the enemy team has really heavy engage, Warwick
Hmm.
loves that because he loves people just fighting him. He's like, yeah, please fight me.
Okay.
Um, Another example of things that Warwick likes when it comes to what's on your team is anything that can dive. So like if you have
Okay.
a Renekton, you have a Kled, or if your bot lane, let's say you have a lot of poke, like strong early pokes, maybe like a Draven Blitzcrank or a Caitlyn or Nautilus, whatever, anything with that can just go in and really run them over early. Warwick loves to play around that.
Okay.
So those are like the general things that Warwick plays around. Now when it comes to different champion, like let's say Kayn, we'll take. He's a little bit different. Because Kayn, I guess it gets complicated because his two forms make it weird.
Hmm.
Because like some games, especially if there's a lot of range, he may like the playing against range. He can go blue Kayn and just one shot them.
Yeah.
But then in other games, the red Kayn can be better. So that one's kind of hard to analyze on its own because they get so like specific with Kayn.
Yeah. But I think that makes sense. Like understand what your champion likes,
Yeah.
and then
Just think about what
see.
kind of fights you like, what kind of angles do you like to gank from, and
Okay.
then you should start to be able to get a rough idea of like what kind of games you want.
Okay. That makes sense.
Or an easy way to do it is like think about what you really hate dealing with, and then go the reverse. That's probably what you like.
Okay. That makes sense too. Um. Okay, and then and then I just wanted to recap really quickly. So you said there's like the two builds, the Ravenous build,
Yep.
and with Divine, where you would take PTA or
Mhm.
where you take lethal.
Yeah,
Which one was?
with Ravenous Divine you go PTA because your fights are shorter because you play more like an assassin with that build
Okay.
since you're not tanky
Okay.
enough.
Okay.
And then with the Lethal Tempo Titanic build, you have more HP, so you can go Lethal Tempo and you can like slow them. Oh, an important thing if you do go that build, it's going to take some getting used to with the Stride Breaker.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the times you can hold your E for longer since you have the slow. You don't need to fear them immediately.
Yeah.
So just like kind of play around with that if you do go that build, like just when you can
Okay.
use slow.
Yeah.
When it comes to actual gameplay stuff to focus on, like a lot of it
Wait,
with
get my full clear like
yeah, get your full
down.
clear regardless of your champ. Get your full clear. Really focus on like the quality of your
Uh,
ganks. Thinking about
yeah.
where the wave's pushing. Big for
One
you.
thing I wanted to ask was, do you think, or is this like much worse if I was to do like let's say like red blue grump and then clear backward?
Yes, you can't do that on Warwick.
You can't.
You cannot.
It's just too slow.
So multiple reasons. One, yeah, it's too slow because you're not going to be at scuttle on time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also, again, your camps are not synced. It's still messy. So here, let me.
Like I guess your minor camps would be synced, right? Or no?
Okay. I guess synced is the wrong word for this instance. Yes, they're synced in like they'll spawn at the same time. But okay, you got to think about Warwick. So there's like main spikes for Warwick that I care about. And it
Yeah.
depends on the build, obviously, but the most important one is Tiamat, and then there's
Yeah.
level 6 and
Yeah.
whatever major item. So for one build, it may be Ravenous; for the other, it's your Stride Breaker. Those are like the main things you care about.
Okay.
The level 6, if you do red buff, blue buff, you're completely messing it up because normally you would do red at 130, and then you would do your Krugs, let's say, because it takes like a little bit to kill the red. For simplicity, we'll do these numbers. So we'll say you kill Krugs at 2 minutes, and then you kill the Raptors at like 220. And then
Okay.
these will end up respawning at 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll have this. Now, if you do red-blue and you come back, like even if you're doing the Gromp, it's still way later than this. It's 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So basically, what I'm getting at is your second rotation of camps, they're going to be spawning later, and so you're hitting your level 6 later.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Oh yeah, one thing I didn't touch on, you mentioned it earlier, like the amount of games that you play in a day.
Yeah.
Again, this needs to be realistic. I'm not saying you immediately go down to like 3 games a day because that's not going to happen. I can guarantee it. You would break it immediately.
Honestly, I like just like I've been like really like my like when I get busy with like life, I get like extremely busy. So if you look at my match history, like I think before like this whole spree, it was like
how
quite a
deep am I
long
going to have to
time.
go? Oh, okay, we're having a little bit of. Yeah, it looks like you went like 2 weeks without playing.
Yeah, so I get really busy sometimes. So I like then I just like don't. But
Right.
I could definitely like try spreading it out.
Yeah, definitely spread it out for sure. Um, yeah, like especially back when I was in college, that's what I would do is like I would spread out my games instead of just grinding them all out in one day because it gets to be a mess.
Yeah.
So definitely do that if you can. Like even if it's just 3 games a day compared to like 20 on the weekend, I would so much prefer that.
Okay.
If you can. And that just the quality will be so much higher and it's so much easier to like actually learn from. Um so yeah, if you can do 3 games a day, that's great. Just do whatever is like realistic with your schedule, basically, to where you have an even amount every day, ideally.
Okay.
You have to like kind of balance it more towards the weekend. You know, you can.
Yeah.
But just go at the beginning of the day saying, I'm going to play this many games and don't let yourself go over it. That's what's important because that was like the whole beginning where like emotional control. That's what I want you to prioritize and like everything is that you commit to it at the beginning and you don't let yourself break from it.
Okay. That makes sense. Do you, I guess, have an opinion on like duoing or like not like
Don't
intentional duoing, but I just have like friends I like playing with. So like if we're both online, we'll just play together. But is that, I guess, do
I
you?
think it's bad for improvement. If you want to do it for fun, you can.
Okay,
But I think like it brings a lot of bad habits.
gotcha. In terms of like you will pay attention to them more.
Yeah, you will path towards them whether you want to or not. Um, you'll
Okay.
end up also. So let's say if your teammate is, or your duo is bad, you're going to path more towards them to help them. If maybe let's say they're a slightly better player, whether it be like at the map awareness or whatever, they start to compensate for what you're bad at, and you don't want that either.
Okay.
Because then as soon as you start playing solo and they're not telling you, hey, the jungler's here, then
Yeah.
yeah, you're kind of stuck there. So that's why I said like it can be fine, but you have to keep in mind that you are going to get a lot of bad habits doing that.
Okay. That makes sense. Um. Yeah. I guess is there anything else like that was like a important thing that I'm not mentioning? Like you mentioned like the Q into E. You mentioned like a autoing, I guess, more, or is it was there like a general trend like just auto instead of eing, but right and then
Well, the general idea, obviously, it's going to change based on the situation, but your goal is always to, unless the enemy is already low, you want to maximize your damage. So when
okay,
you're going into a fight, or especially if you're looking to fight later on, you want to think about, okay, where could I have squeezed in more auto attacks, or could I have used my E later
okay,
um, to benefit more from my lifesteal or my lethal tempo, whatever. It's always a matter of could I delay my ability? If you can, then do that. If you can't, obviously, then you have to use it.
okay,
But that's like goal is just because that's the whole identity of Warwick is fighting at low HP.
okay, that makes sense. And then from the Kayn game, it was just like, I guess like when they're doing drag, then you should be taking camps if you can't contest.
Right. So if you can't contest, then you trade something else. But also making sure that you understand what makes a gank unavoidable for the laner. Because we were talking about
Okay.
plants a lot, and it's like you can hit the plant here to get information not only for yourself but for your teammates. And as long as you're not going to lose something for it, then it's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. Question about the unavoidable ganks. Like I think
Mhm.
from what I remember, that was like when they're trying to get it shoved in,
Yep.
and you're there.
Mhm.
In like I guess in higher elo,
Yep.
what does the bot lane do in that scenario? Do they just like die trying to crash it, or do they just let the other team freeze, or what happens?
It depends. Even in Diamond, a lot of times they'll die.
Okay.
But if they're like really disciplined, usually they'll end up either um, pinging their jungler to come help,
Uh-huh.
or they'll recall. Those are like usually the options if they're not going to end for it.
Okay, and they'll just take the freeze.
Yeah, and they just like they take the L on the wave. It is what it is. But if
Okay.
they do that, then you've won.
Yeah.
You've completely won the lane for your bot lane. They're super happy. If in the situation where they send the jungler down, if you win the 3v3, great. If not, then you at minimum wasted his time and you can go back to your camps.
Okay, that makes sense. So is this okay to have as a general rule of thumb? Like if they're trying to get the wave pushed in, it's gankable.
It's okay. I don't like the word gankable. I would rather you say you should be looking to gank.
Okay. Like does that include like hovering or just like I'm literally just
Right.
panning
Right.
my
Right. So it like if you have like if your teammates are able to follow up, then yes, you should be looking to gank
Okay.
when they're at the point where they're trying to crash.
Okay.
Um, but if let's say your teammates can't follow up or you're missing your ultimate, whatever, then
Yeah.
then maybe you still don't go for the gank because obviously the variables that are present matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is usually when you're looking to gank is when they're trying to crash the wave, not after they've crashed the wave.
Okay. That makes sense. Um yeah, I think I'm good. I like wrote down most of the things that you mentioned. But if you do post this VOD anywhere, like could you share the link maybe?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I can actually make this. What I have, because I used to do them as public videos. I haven't done public coaching uploads in a while. Now I just have them as unlisted.
Okay.
Let me find on my YouTube channel. I have the playlist of my jungle and top lane coachings. I'll send you that link.
Okay.
I just post like anytime I do.
Okay.
So I'll put it there. But yeah, once I upload the video, if I actually do, I'll send you that
Yeah.
link and you'll.
Okay. Gotcha. And then